They had a two-headed rabbit. They had a five-legged deer. I'm not sure what else. Those two stuck in my mind.
So when we went to the Mothman Festival this last weekend, we met a lot of interesting characters, to say the least. And one of the characters, one of the people that we met, he asked to be called Cowboy. So that's what we're calling him, is Cowboy. And yeah, when we put the camera on him, he wanted to talk, and he just kind of shared some history about Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Some of his research that he did. He gives an explanation about why the Silver Bridge fell, and I had never heard it before. So I want to just kind of put these interviews out there. Again, we're kind of short on time. It takes a long time to edit these videos, so we're just putting it out there as much as we can, as unedited as we can, because we don't have the time to do it. And I want people who watch our channel all around the world, if you're from Australia, if you're from Canada, from California, you couldn't make it to the Mothman Festival, and now you can kind of experience what it was like to go there and meet some of the people that were there just doing their thing. Cowboy was a guy, and of course you see he's dressed up there, and he's got his green suit jacket on with question marks all over it. And he was just doing his thing. He was in his element. He talks about how one time he was the MC for the tram that used to go through Point Pleasant, West Virginia. So he knows a lot about the city. I wish we could have talked to him for an hour, but it was really cool meeting people like this at the Mothman Festival. And we're going to try and put these interviews out as we can. We've got maybe 6 in total that we're going to release over hopefully the coming weeks here. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this little interview that we did with a guy that we call Cowboy.
Tourism person. We had the big river boats coming in those days, and that was the first year, 2004. American Queen, Delta Queen,
Okay.
All of those big boats was coming in. This is from our church.
Okay.
And so I got real heavy into this stuff. Love it, love it, love it. Now, years ago, before when we first started, we ran a tram around town. Charged $1 took you 6 blocks around. Well, I studied everything about the town, and I was the MC. I told him I was trying to get over my shine bashfulness. But then I went to the doctor and found out what was wrong with me. I had a birth defect.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, my dad. It was his fault. I have the barber gene. My grandfather was a barber, my dad was a barber, my uncle was a barber, and they always say if you want all the news in town, go to the barber shop. So that's why I'm the way I am. I can't help myself.
Okay.
Sometimes I get up in the middle of the night just to talk to myself because there's nobody to talk to.
All right.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I think you'll fit in great.
Okay, man, let's give it a try.
Perfect.
Okay, my name's Tom, by the way.
Hi, Tom.
Okay.
Now,
And
I had COVID here not long ago. So,
I've been
well,
trying to
a couple
catch
years.
that, yeah.
And so,
Okay.
I'll probably forget your name before. we
That's
get done
okay,
talking.
that's all right.
All right, guys, I'm good.
Okay.
Where you from?
I'm from Mansfield, Ohio.
Okay, what's going to happen with this?
We have a YouTube channel called Through the Black. I'll give you a card.
Oh, please do.
And we cover all kinds of stuff like this, but our audience, for the most part, are Christians. So we come out, we cover kind of the just the paranormal type stuff, and we have a biblical worldview response to this type of thing. So
Wonderful.
yeah, that's
Would
what we
you
do.
believe my pastor? I'm an Adventist.
Okay.
My pastor preached on Mothman this morning, and he got me up in front of the church and interviewed me because we send everything out. We
Okay.
YouTube, we everything.
Okay, great, man, great. So, are you're rolling then? Okay. Hey guys, what's up? I am here, and remind me your name again.
Richard Smith.
Richard, and
My friends call me Cowboy.
okay. Well, can I call you Cowboy?
I wish you would.
Okay, so down here, still at the Mothman Festival with my new friend Cowboy, and I see this guy here in this suit, and He's a little bit shy, but we got him to talk on camera. Tell us what you're doing here and why you're passing out these cards, and you just told me a story about how you ended up here working on the bridge. Can you share that with us?
Yeah. And we all know that the bridge collapsed in '67. I think it was '67. 46 people was killed. Well, I was a state inspector, road and bridge inspector, and I was up in the mountains working on the interstates in West Virginia. My boss comes along and he said, "Hey, bridge fell in Point Pleasant." Where in the heck is Point Pleasant? And so he asked me if I'd come down. Well, I wasn't married, 23 years old, wasn't married. I was smart enough to still be living home with Mom and Dad. Mom took awful good care of me, washing and cooking. And so I came down, fell in love with the place, man, crazy down here. And so I stayed. In 2004, they closed the plant where I used to work. The government, thank you for paying your taxes, paid for my wife and I to go to Marshall University and get a degree. I came back, I volunteered to work in tourism while I was in college. So that's what got me started, with going to college tourism. And I was at 58 years old. So it was quite an experience, and I just love it.
So what is your take on what we hear about the Mothman, the sightings and things like that? There's a lot of people that have given testimony as sightings and things. Have you met any of them? Do you believe these stories?
I have done all I could to find out everything I could about the Mothman. And I have seen 3 different movies. First one, of course, was Richard Gere and his movie, and then I saw 2 others on Netflix or somewhere, and I'm telling you, do not waste your time on those movies. I get upset every time I watch them. There's no realism in any of them, but what can you do? It's Hollywood, man. You got to do it Hollywood's way if you're going to sell a movie. So, but as far as the Mothman himself, I hate to say this, but it could very well be a great big bird. It could. Now, the way I understand it, though, Mothman's going to be here tonight. He only comes in once a year. Comes in once a year. I was talking to 2 guys yesterday that are real close with the Mothman, real close. And they said he's kind of concerned. He tries to hold down so many people seeing him because he's really afraid. I mean, after the Mothman was sighted, people around here carried guns for a long time. Now, the Mothman never killed anybody. The Mothman never hurt anybody. Matter of fact, honestly, the Mothman never even talked to anybody. But, and the bridge, as far as the bridge fell, the reason the bridge fell was a piece broke on the bridge. Now we have federal bridge inspections. Every so often it's required, mandatory that you inspect bridges. Before this bridge fell, there was no mandatory inspection. I don't know if the bridge was ever inspected. The bridge was built in the late 20s. The bridge fell in '67. We had the big lead sleds, the big tractor and trailers, the big school buses, and the main interstate highway, which we never had the word interstate in that day, came right up through Main Street, right up through town, right in front of the courthouse. There was a traffic light right there. The bridge went across the Ohio River right there. On the other side is Ohio Route 7. It had a traffic light. Every vehicle coming out of the south, every vehicle coming out of the north crossed right here in Point Pleasant and went right across Main Street. And the reason they crossed here is you have to go miles and miles and miles. You have to go to Parkersburg if you want to cross the bridge, across the river, and that's an hour's drive up there. You have to go to Huntington, and in those days,
so it saw a lot of damage. Yeah. So it saw a lot of wear and tear from all the traffic.
Well, especially with the 2 traffic lights, see? Yeah. Now, I was comparing a car in the 20s and a car in 1967. Thousands of pounds difference just in the car.
Right.
And so, this, every time a traffic light had changed, the traffic going, There was never a day or a night that there wasn't a full bridge load of traffic. Because we, in the late 60s, we had chemical plants, we had power plants, we had aluminum plants, we had everything going. And Gallipolis, Ohio is just 3 miles away. It was like we were merged into one town, because we would run over and shop there. They would come over here. I mean, you know, it was just back and forth, and the traffic was just horrid.
So, another question: what would be your advice for anybody that would run into the Mothman? What would you tell them to do?
Don't be afraid. Don't try to capture him. If you want a picture, take a picture, but keep your distance. I don't think he likes being around people that much, but he does. He does his best. Well, for example, let me tell you, he's going to be here tonight. I know he's going to be here tonight. He comes in for every Mothman festival, because I don't think there's another one in the United States anywhere. So he comes in for this one. He came in last night, stayed in an a location.
Right.
Didn't want anybody to know where he was.
Yeah.
COVID. And then he's going to leave tonight. He always leaves the last night. I mean, tonight he'll leave before the sun comes up, because he doesn't want people after him. He doesn't want people shooting him. Like I said, people carried guns there for a long time because they just didn't know what to think of him. But he did pick the right place. The TNT area, there's a lot of history up there. It's contaminated because we never thought about contamination back during World War II. And during World War II, there was a lot of experimental stuff went on up there. They made munitions up there. A lot of things went on. I have seen deformed animals come out of there. We have the State Farm Museum up in on the edge of the TNT area. And I don't know if you still have it or not, but they had a museum up there. They had a two-headed rabbit. They had a 5-legged deer. I'm not sure what else. Those two stuck in my mind in the TNT area.
Yeah. Okay, very good.
Actually, hey, Cowboy, I'm Kenny C.
Glad to meet you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. When we were talking, you were talking about that your preacher had spoke about the Mothman.
Yeah.
So you're a Christian.
Oh yeah.
So
actually, I'm an Adventist.
Okay. So explain, how do you put this in your biblical worldview of the Mothman? How does that fit into what you believe?
All right. Okay, I'm going to come straight with you.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it couldn't be something.
Right.
But I am way more inclined over the years to think this was an extremely large bird. I think it was an extremely large bird. If you'll study birds, I can't remember what bird it was, but I read about one, had red circles under his eyes, had a 7-foot wingspan, and with computers being what they are, you ought to be able to look it up and check it out.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned deformed animals that came out of the TNT area, but I don't think it was this particular situation. I still see cranes in the area now that we never had before. We actually have a couple of bald eagles that we've never had before, and I haven't heard a word about anybody bringing them in. I think they came in on their own, and so I mean, there's a lot of. But the TNT area now isn't what it used to be. Now it's all grown up. You don't see anything. It used to be back in the 60s. That was the place to go.
Wow.
So that's what I think. It could be, but I don't know.
Good stuff.
Never say never, man.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Man,
Great,
I know.
man.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.